If your lordships may kindly see order 2.
Mr. Siddiqui,
Yes.
the question was that if it is only to be an act of parliament, then the constitution might have used the word act of parliament, not that the word law includes an act of parliament. The whole issue was that subject to law, law is a very broad term,
Yes.
includes many things,
Yes.
including an act of parliament.
Yes.
And the Attorney General said that we should read into the word law the fact that it's just an act of parliament.
No.
Hence the issue as to how to read the word law. तो
I'm-
आप जो बहस कर रहे हैं कि लॉ में एक्ट ऑफ पार्लियामेंट है वो तो अंडरस्टूड है, सिर्फ
मैं-
ये है कि टू द एक्सक्लूजन ऑफ एवरीथिंग एल्स हम इसको लॉ में पढ़ेंगे.
मैं टू द एक्सक्लूजन आर्ग्यू नहीं कर रहा हूं, एंड द रीजन आई एम ट्राइंग टू क्लैरिफाई सो दैट देयर इज नो कंफ्यूजन is to come to my argument about conferment under Article 190. If I may just make one point on this.
You see, there are two issues
Yes,
here.
yes.
I interject now.
Ji.
I'm here to hear you. Please conclude your submissions. If someone wants to ask a question, if you start responding to each query, I don't even know what your argument is. And I would request the honorable members of the bench to at least let counsel complete his submission. Yes, there will be questions, but I don't know what you're going to say next. And if you are faced with questions, I mean, I don't know what I'm to write, and I just lose the chain of thought, and I'm sure you do as well. So, Mr. Siddiqui, please, if you keep responding to each question, we'll be forever. No, excuse me, this is no laughing matter.
My Lord,
No, from morning to night on the first day we worked, every second of this court is time of the people who have invested heavily in this institution. 3 full days have worked. Now we are on the 4th day. We can endlessly hear one case in the year, and that's our performance. And all the other cases will get left behind, and all they will keep mounting up. So please, there are 15 of us, and all of us have questions, and complete your chain of thought. And if you keep responding, I don't know what your contention is, I will never understand it.
if I may just complete this.
Please keep submitting
If
your
I may just-
submission.
I'm very grateful to your lordship. If your lordships may see order 1, it contains various definitions, my lord, and then your lordship may see subsection 2. If I may read. Unless the context, now law is not defined in the Supreme Court rules, but this provision is there. Unless the context otherwise requires, the General Clauses Act 1897 shall apply to the interpretation of these rules, as it applies to the interpretation of a federal act. Your lordships are aware that the term law is a defined term in the General Clauses Act. And this is the General Clauses Act 1897 I'm talking about. If your lordship looks at section 3, subsection, sorry sir.
Order 1, 2, 2 है ना, जरा clear कर.
जी जी.
Order 1 का rule 2 का 2.
जी, rule 2.
जी.
Rule 2 का 2.
जी जी. जी, rule 2 का 2. I'm sorry sir. So the definition of what law means in Order 11 would come from the General Clauses Act. And Section 3, subsection 37B has a definition of law. It says Pakistani law, but the case law consistently says where the term law means Pakistani law, that is what Pakistani law is. And it says Pakistani law shall mean any act, ordinance, regulation, rule, order, bylaw.
Please tell us where you're reading from.
Sir, Section 3, subsection.
Sections तो नहीं है.
Sir, General Clauses Act 1897.
अच्छा, we are still at the rules, जी.
Sir, rule तो मैंने आपको बता दिया. Order 1, sub rule 2. अगर आप General Clauses Act देख लें अब, Section 3, subsection 37B.
Pakistani law.
So there is, as the Supreme Court which sat while making these rules was clear in their minds.
It
What-
says Pakistan law.
Yes, and the case law says that where the word law comes in statutes, and I've given the citations, I won't repeat them, that Pakistani law's definition is to be used. I've cited that. So, my lord, there is no doubt about the fact that when the word
This is the book that I have, subsection. There's a note here saying that this was substituted in 1981.
G. Sir, 37B.
Yes,
It was
yes.
substituted in 1981,
Ji.
what you are reading. So when the full court sat to frame the rules in Supreme Court Rules 1980, what was 37B then?
But it would still apply.
No, but what was it?
I'm not aware of that, but
Check.
yes. So, my submission before your lordship is that even if one looks at the structure of the sentence, save as otherwise provided by law, the contemplation in the mind of even while framing the rules is that there can be an act of parliament. Now, what is the relationship between that act of parliament and the rules? That is a crucial question. But there can be no question about the fact that rules, act of parliament can be on practice and procedure of the Supreme Court.
No, it can't.
So that's my first point.
Just a moment.
Ji, sir,
You
ji,
are-
sir.
First of all, you are asking us to read a definition which does not say law but says Pakistani law in the specific context of Article 191 and the Supreme Court rules. Chalo, okay, that's your argument. But you say that law.
I don't know what you say. I still have to note it. Can you please complete your thought? So let me understand what you're saying. So then the question, I will understand the question also. Maybe I'm not so quick at understanding. Can you please complete your submissions from your own mouth? Let us hear it.
My submission is that the word,
Let me first ask up to whatever you said
Please,
now.
can you I don't know the question has to follow a submission. Please, can you conclude your submission, Mr. Siddiqui? Otherwise, we'll have to spend forever on this case.
sir, may I,
आप जरा अपना conclude कर लें submissions.
may I just, thank you, sir. Sir, my submission is that the word law, as it occurs in Article 191, includes acts of parliament. And an indication of that, a clear indication of that, is given in the rules as framed in 1980, because the language, for example, used in Order 11 talks about save as otherwise provided by law. That clearly indicates that one is talking about statutory law.
Okay, next one.
Yes, yes.
Just before you
And
carry on,
that of course is buttressed by the definition.
Just before you
Ji-
carry on
ji,
to your
ji,
next
sir,
point,
ji.
I think, if I may ask, in the 1956 Constitution, you will recall that there was a specific article which said that words and phrases not defined in the Constitution shall have the same meaning as in the General Clauses Act.
Yes.
That was in the 1956 Constitution. Is there any equivalent in the 1973 Constitution? As far as I can
I
remember,
don't-
Mr. Faisal
I-
Siddiqui, you have
I'm
been
not
right.
aware of it.
You have been rightly stumped. Please persist
Therefore,
with your submissions.
Therefore, my question to you is that here we have to look at the word law as used in Article 191, because the rule-making power is conferred by Article 191.